Good Friday morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. We all survived. Is everybody on a sugar crash this morning from candy? Did you sleep like that? Did you go to bed and just wake up looking like that today?
I mean, I like to think that I wake up looking like this every day.
There you go. There you go, girl. There you go. Yes. Yesterday was a lot. Halloween was a lot. It always
It
is. You know
was.
what I
No, it
mean?
is.
And I remember as a kid, like going trick or treating and then going home and going to sleep and not wanting to get up the next day to go to school. And, today's a school day for CCISD and kids
Yeah.
and parents too, because
Mm-hmm.
all those parents that had to walk around all the neighborhoods last night or go to the
Mm-hmm.
events and all of that. There was a little rain.
There was.
Yeah.
Um, so I was really surprised about that, but
Well, it did not deter anybody, that's for
of
sure,
course
right?
not. Of course not.
So we are gonna talk about football real quick. And one thing Michaela and I realized is we hadn't really been talking about the NFL lately. I mean, we talk about, when we win and when we lose and things like
But
that.
not a huge thing like college.
Yeah. Yeah. So number one, there's several teams as of week 9 that are leading, and funny to say, Cowboys aren't anywhere on there.
Aren't
That
they
is,
like they're not at the
hey,
bottom
hey, hey.
bottom, but they're like, pretty close.
Well, we're not last, but
That's
we're
all that
not
matters.
first. So if you're not first, you're
You're
last.
last.
But technically, we're not last. So the Chiefs are doing really good for those Chief fans. I mean, but
Travis Kelsey, but they have Taylor Swift on their side, so I'm not surprised.
and Patrick Mahomes. Hello.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift, Swifties. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. And then Baltimore Ravens, they're highly rated right now. Their defense is pretty dominant. They're having some offensive strong, honestly, their offensive line is strong too. Detroit Lions, it's surprising a lot of people, but it's holding one of the higher spots this season. I'm not a Lions fan. Detroit, Michigan, all of that, but I'm not a big Lions fan. But I mean, obviously, when you're a Cowboys fan and you're not on the list, guess what?
You
You
really don't care that much.
Yeah, you really don't get to complain or care. But you know who's also up at the top right now, and it's making me sick, is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I am sorry for all my East Coast peeps, but Eagles to the Cowboys is oil and water. That is gross and disgusting. Eagle fans are gonna be like, what? No. But the Eagle fans hate the Cowboys too. So let's just not get that twisted. Let's put that out there. But the Eagles are remaining a powerhouse right now in the NFC. Um, and then rounding it out at the top five is San Francisco. So we got East Coast, West Coast, all of the things. There are some key players that are hurting on the San Francisco team, but they're holding a strong position and are expected to make a rebound. So it's just hard being a Cowboys fan. I've told you that a million times,
You have.
and I will go to my grave saying that. As much as I um love them, I despise them sometimes. And Jerry really disappoints me. And I just
Like
we
most
saw.
men.
It's just, yeah, it's a lot. Okay. So, and it makes me depressed because it's not only my Cowboys suck, and my Sooners are too. So when it's both of them, I mean, come on, dude. It's like, can you show
Yeah.
us or something?
It really sucks because I don't have Longhorns football this week. We're on a bye week this week.
Aw. wah, wah, wah. Okay.
Uh, Also, I feel like we wouldn't really be a sports podcast without, noting the fact that the Los Angeles Dodgers are your World Series champs. Like that is crazy. If you weren't watching the World Series, LA beat New York Wednesday night, to take on the World Series. So
And
good
we
job, Los
had
Angeles.
two guys from the Coastal Bend
Mm-hmm.
representing, one from each team.
Yeah,
And um Banda, I think is his last name. Is that correct?
I believe so.
For the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Is from Sinton High School. He's a graduate of 2011, I think.
I believe
Um,
so.
I think so, yeah. So we have a hometown here, another hometown hero right here in the Coastal Bend from good old Sinton, Texas. Which is really cool. It's really cool. Baseball, I grew up going to baseball games, Texas Rangers. Love them. I like going to the Hooks game, but I'm not a big baseball fan when it comes to like watching baseball. Like I'm not gonna sit there
Yeah,
and
that's
watch
like a
the
sport I
Rangers.
have to go
Yeah.
to a game. It's not one of the sports that I can watch on TV because it doesn't work for me.
Um, it's yeah, I'm not a big sit on the couch and watch baseball other than the World Series. I will do that, but
Yeah.
like I can't even tell you how many games the Rangers has, and I'm sure somebody can, the MLB, how many games they have. It's like hockey, they have a lot of games.
Hmm.
So I love going, like I said, going to them, having all the fun, but nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
So Dodgers are the
they
champion.
are.
Okay, but here's the deal. I'm going to challenge you
Hmm.
without Googling it. Who were the champions last year?
I don't want to say the Astros, but I feel like they've won like the past couple of years. But it wasn't the Astros.
No. And that's the thing. We as Americans don't remember. Most of us, unless it's our team. Who won the Super Bowl?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs won it this year. I'm
Yeah.
not fact checking you.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it was a whole thing because again, Taylor Swift was there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's my deal. You remember that because of Taylor Swift, obviously, right? And
Yes. Hmm.
because you weren't a big football. But my point is these big games, unless it's your team, I would find it really hard to believe that next year at this time, if you say Melina, who won the World Series last
I'm
year, I
probably
would,
not gonna remember.
well, I'll be like,
But
I
I,
don't even.
but I feel like so that's not that's hard because I like hockey. I love the sport. So when it's Stanley Cup time, I'm watching the Stanley Cup finals regardless if it's my team or not. Like last year it was freaking Edmonton versus Florida. Neither of my teams. Well, it's not the Florida team I hate. I don't particularly care for the Florida team.
Right, but you love the sport so much. So
Exactly.
a true, and I'm not going to say a true football fan because I am a
Hmm.
football fan, but somebody that really like
Could name it.
right, could name it. But
Yeah.
me, I'm like, well, I know one of the Cowboys, so you know what? I can't even remember who it is or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's just funny that we like
But
all the
like
dogs, they'll remember next year who
they'll
won.
remember, yeah.
But
Exactly.
everybody and Yankees will remember who won because Yankee
Hmm.
fans, right? Because they're the ones that lost to them. But everybody else, most of us won't
Be like,
remember.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny. But okay,
Yeah.
tell me what's going on with the hockey.
So speaking of hockey, it was a really great week for hockey. Not just necessarily because of like the games or the teams or whatever playing, besides the fact that Dallas does play in Finland tonight, and tomorrow for their global series against the Florida Panthers. But we had another Hughes Bowl. And Melina, you had asked, what is a Hughes Bowl? Let me tell you, friend. So I've mentioned Quinn, Jack, and Luke Hughes, correct? You remember me
Yeah.
mentioning them? They were on the cover of NHL 25, which is really
Yep.
exciting. So obviously, anytime siblings play each other, that's so stinking cool.
Can you imagine being the mom of that? Like that would
So
be
I love Ellen. Her name's Ellen Hughes. So she literally has a scarf that's half Canucks and half Devils, and she wears it, and it's the best thing ever. Their dad straight up just wore Vancouver Canucks last night. Not last night, Wednesday night. Um, and then the mom, and I'm guessing I think one of their female relatives also wore a half and half scarf. Um, but basically, a Hughes Bowl is when Jack and Luke, who play for the New Jersey Devils, takes on Quinn's Vancouver Canucks. So it's just like a fun, like not a fun family thing because obviously no one else's family except, their parents and their actual family. But it's just so much fun watching the three of them play against each other. Especially because one, Quinn's a defenseman and so is Luke, and then Jack is a center. So it is just so cool to watch them go up against each other. They have been doing like the Hughes Bowl since 2019, which is when Jack was drafted. It became like a whole like phenomenon when Luke joined in December of last year because finally all three brothers were facing off against each other. Um, so some of the stats on that is Jack scored his first NHL goal at the first Hughes Bowl. So October 19th, 2019. So he was like literally drafted. They played, and the first time he played his big brother, he got his first NHL goal, which is so stinking cool. Like
That is so cool.
that
I
is
would love to be that
amazing.
mom. I think that would be like
Yeah.
that if
Um,
I have three boys, number one, number two, that all go and make it to the NHL.
NHL. Yeah.
Like all three, not one little one that the little runt that didn't get to make it,
Yeah.
or it's not. I mean, like all
Which
three.
is also funny that you call the little one the runt. Luke is the biggest one out of all of them, and he's the baby. So it's
Oh,
really
that's
funny. So their elder brother Quinn is the shortest. He's still like decently tall, but then you have Luke who's like towers over them. But
on
also
a scale
Luke,
of 1 to 10. What are their rankings in looks and all of that? Come on,
um,
girl.
so I would honestly do like one, two, three, like Quinn's one, Jack's two, Luke is three. The only like thing like person if you factor in like the personality with the Lukes, I feel like Jack would bump up before Quinn because Jack is just I feel like has would have a fun personality. Um versus like Quinn is much more of like a quiet person, which speaks to me, but I feel like Jack would just be fun. But on top of that being his first goal, he became the youngest player in NHL history, um, at 18 years to score the game-winning goal in a 1-0 win. So that was his
Wow.
first Hughes Bowl. And so they meet again a little later on in 2019, and then of course COVID happens, and then there's a bubble and all of that.
Right.
So they don't really play each other. The next one is February 2022. So they don't play against each other for,
Everything. Right.
3 years.
Right.
Uh, and at that point, the Devils have won literally every game. So Devils are have beat the Canucks 3 times. And
Oh,
so, yeah. So rounding out to this past game, the Devils have not been doing so hot this year so far. The players are fantastic. The team as a whole, I think they had gotten a new head coach and they had gotten new players and everything. So it was a lot about learning how to mesh with each other. They meshed well. Um, they ended up beating the Canucks 6-0.
oh wow.
Which is a big like first of all, that's a big goal
Yeah.
differential with the Devils. So last night made the upcoming like the overall stats of the Devils have won 7 and the Canucks have won 2.
Oh my goodness.
So it's fun and they play one so far they've only played like each other twice in each season. So they've played it in Vancouver and so then they'll play it in Jersey the next game. But
Okay.
it's gonna
Okay.
be it's always a fun ordeal and it's always really Cool because you don't get a lot of like Jack hasn't done a lot of media this year. But obviously with like the whole storyline of it being the Hughes Bowl, he did a whole bunch of media this like last couple day or two. So it's always fun to watch them
Right. I
do
love that
media.
kind of stuff. I really do. Like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook suck me in with anything regarding sports because I'll
Yeah.
just even on our Girl Talk Sports Talk Facebook page, sometimes,
Hmm.
we're following all of the different sports so that we can try to keep up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get sucked in. I'm like, I gotta go. I can't, I gotta quit because I'm reading. I love sports, but especially
Yeah.
football, no matter what team it is. So yeah, I love the fact that you know all this stuff about hockey.
Um,
Hockey.
to also very exciting moment for me, not personally, but personally. Um, Nico Hischier, that's enough said. Um, scored within the first minute and 58 seconds of the game at the Hughes Bowl, which put him at 10 goals. He is the first player this season to reach 10 goals, and he is the current leading NHL scorer. And that just makes me so happy because this man deserves it.
Is he married?
No.
Yeah. Does he have a girlfriend?
Not
Or that publicly that we don't know
not
about?
publicly. We don't know. Like, obviously, players keep lives private and everything. Publicly, he's not linked to anybody.
It might be you one day. It might
Putting
be.
it out into this universe.
I'm putting it
Honestly,
out in the man. As
I would
long as
just
you let
love
me
to
be the
meet him.
flower girl, I can be the flower girl,
Okay.
flower woman, flower
Flower
old
woman.
lady. That's funny. Okay.
I just love to meet him. Um, but that's not all about hockey because I have more hockey. It was a good week for hockey. Um, so I follow an organization called Sports Girls Club. I've had for the last couple of years once I realized that I really wanted to work in sports. And also realized how much of a minority women in sports are. So I've
That
been
is one thing that probably makes me feel what's the word I'm looking for? Because I'm not about titles and I'm not about all of that. I'm more
hmm
about exclusive, I guess. I
Yeah.
feel more exclusive because there isn't a lot of women in football or in sports or that talk about sports. Like
hmm
I was talking to a gentleman the other day about our podcast, and
hmm
they're like, how did you come up with that? And so I told them, like where the idea came from in my head and how we had talked about it and that, football, blah, blah, blah. And he said, you're really hitting a niche. And I said, but that's the thing is, some girls can talk all of the Botox and the makeup and the eyelashes and they can talk all of those things.
hmm
I I don't know, go to Walmart and get some, whatever. I'm not,
Right, yeah.
but those same girls can't talk sports
Yeah.
the way that I can. You know what I mean? I love it. And that's what I told him. I said, I feel like girls that are into sports are judged, and I'm a girly girl and I can be a girly girl,
hmm
but me and my girl like sports. She just likes
Yeah.
hockey and I like football, but she's growing on football and I'm growing on hockey. So there you go.
Well, it's really funny that you mentioned that because and I'm definitely like going left on this. But growing up, like I didn't want to be the person like I didn't tell anybody I liked watching hockey. I didn't tell anybody I watched hockey because like that was just like, oh my God, you're a girl and you like watching sports. Like that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be out there doing dancing, cheerleading, liking girl stuff, like
And I like all that
makeup and
stuff too. But I mean,
uh, but yes, that's like the biggest thing is I was so afraid to be seen as someone who likes sports, even though I was a tomboy. I played soccer. Like I hated dresses growing up. Now I love dresses. Um, but it took a long time for me to realize like, hey, I can like sports and still like makeup and do my nice outfits and everything. So it's really funny
mhm,
that you said that.
yeah.
But all that to say, Sports Girls Club is an organization it's ran by women for women in sports. They have been putting on events the last year or so. Their big one is like a women in sports conference, which I want to go to really bad, but have not unfortunately been able to. But they've actually just announced a women in hockey summit happening December 6th in New Jersey, and it's geared towards women who like play and work in hockey, which is first of all so cool because that is literally what I want to do. Although learning more and more about it, I would probably not want to work in hockey because I'm such a huge fan that I would probably be watching the game and not doing my job. Um,
Right. Yeah.
uh, but so it is like an all day event from like 9 a.m. to like 10 p.m. Friday, December
Ooh.
6th. They have, but it's really cool. So they kind of have, they've given like their little itinerary like on a graphic on Instagram. So like
Hmm.
9 to 12 is like panels. So they have a bunch of special guest speakers, along with some VIPs, like discuss what it means to be a woman in hockey, the future of the industry, and all that stuff. And they have a fair from like 12 to 2, which is basically like the ultimate fan and career fair. They're gonna have sports companies there that will be recruiting, photo booths, activations, all that. And then happy hour from 2 to 5. And then 5 to 10, they're going to the New Jersey versus Seattle hockey game,
Nah.
which is very cool because, of course, Seattle is the first team that has the first woman behind an NHL bench, Jessica Campbell. Um, So they've announced that. It's really cool. Tickets are still available. The VIP is not available anymore, which is really
Are
gutted.
we flying out there?
Uh, it's expensive. I literally talked to my mom. I was like, what if I really wanted to do this? And she goes like, how like what's the price range? So the VIP, which is what I really, really wanted, was $150. But they only did 10 of those. But what was so stinking cool versus like a standard ticket, is they were gonna pair you up with someone who worked for the Devils organization, a woman who worked in the organization, and you were basically going to like see what they
Nah.
do.
You would have been
But
losing your mind.
I would have just because like that's exactly what I wanted to do. But that has been sold out. But there are still tickets available. So, and I've seen photos and videos and everything, and it's such a stinking cool experience. One, to be around women who want to work in sports, who work in sports, who love sports just as much as you do. Um, so yeah, that is coming up December. So in about a month. Uh,
Road trip. It's a
girl,
long way.
that's a long way.
My
Um,
daughter was born in Washington State, so I know exactly how far it is and long it is, but we could road trip it.
the other side of the country, man, New Jersey,
Oh, New Jersey. I was thinking, why did I think Seattle?
because they're playing the Seattle Kraken.
Okay, that's where I got
It's
it.
the
I was,
other side of the country,
yeah, I
man.
was like, wait, no, I know I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're playing
so
Seattle.
okay.
And then
But they're playing.
yeah, the last bit of hockey news is like I feel like a very like girly one, but it's fine. So the NHL, hold on, back up. So women have such a hard time. Well, speaking of women, I have such a hard time finding merchandise that's like girly and not like basic, like a jersey or like a standard t-shirt or like
No, I
something that
get
a
it.
guy would wear. So NHL has collabed with Lululemon. Do you know what Lululemon is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So they've announced their collaboration with Lululemon.
They got a
So
partnership with them, huh?
they do. It's so exciting. Some of the stuff is actually really cute. They have like, of course, like the stereotypical hoodie. They have like the half zip hoodie. They have the like the skin tight, like cute little like athletic jacket. Shirts, obviously. They have the Lululemon bag. Like it is just great. They only bad side is they only have 11 of the teams right now, but they have made an announcement that going into the 2025 and 2026 season, all 32 teams will be represented.
You're gonna have some Dallas Star stuff, girl.
Yeah, right now they have Vancouver Canucks, and the way I went to buy like the bag and like the little half zip up hoodie, but if you know Lululemon, you know it's so stinking expensive. So it's a dream right now. But that was really cool, and I like the fact that they're trying to go outside of their like
Standard.
standard, their space to bring in equality.
Well, that, and
basically.
I've said it for a couple of years. Girls love football too. I've said that for years. I mean,
Hmm.
years and years. Yeah. But it really is true. Like, people, I want to say, are like embarrassed, or like you said, just like don't really want to talk about it because, I don't want
Yeah.
to. But women are becoming more success, they're
Hmm.
accepting of it and want it, especially with like indoor because it's in the AC and not outdoors and in the
Hmm.
heat, like, all of that. But
Hmm.
when you're into it, yes, you want to wear a guy's jersey or, your favorite player or
Yeah.
whatever, but you want girly stuff. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
because I'm still a girl. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the girl that's gonna go and oh, I want the cute little jerseys, I want the cute
Yeah.
little league, and all of that. So I love that they are catering to women in sports, because
Yeah.
even if they don't play those sports, if they can get there, if men and women can kind of find that neutral ground and go to something, then the girls
Hmm.
that maybe not like it, oh well, I want to go buy some new clothes so I can go to the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Exactly.
Win. So,
But
girl, we got to go to a break. Let's go to break. Let's go to
okay.
break.
Want to know what's going on in Corpus Christi? Make sure you check out cceventscalendar.com. That holds all of the events going on for the entire month. New are added daily. And again, that is cceventscalendar.com. Alrighty, so our mental health moment this week.
Are you
Um,
ready for this, girl? Today is November 1st. You know
mhm.
what that means?
It's real close to Christmas.
54 days.
Oh my God,
You're
that makes me
hearing it
so
first.
anxious because I have not done any
Yeah,
Christmas
I know your
shopping.
anxiety is going up already just talking about it. So that is what we're gonna. Okay, so we've gotten through Halloween, we've gotten through every back to school, we've gotten through everything. So now,
Hmm.
guess what? It comes Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay, so are you a person to put your Christmas tree up now, or do you wait till the day after Thanksgiving?
Okay, so I used to be that girl that waited till the day after Thanksgiving, and
Uh-huh.
then I started putting it up sooner. I'm not. And I know this sounds cheesy, and people always laugh at me when I say this. I really, a few years ago, probably about 5, 7 years ago, once my kids grew up and kind of, started their own
Yeah.
families, and I always had to share my kids at the holidays from the time they
Yeah.
were little till, back and forth. So to me, Christmas, I think people get lost trying to prove what Christmas is about in those
Hmm.
30 to 45 to 52 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm not about all of that because I want to, and I know it sounds cheesy, I try to carry the spirit of Christmas all year round, not just
Hmm.
the 45 days, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't go all out. I don't go, I mean, we get a Christmas tree, we get, the gifts, all of that. But
Yeah.
there was a time in my life, yeah, there was a lot of decorations. And I'm like, no, but it needs to be simpler because we all stress ourselves out thinking about all of that,
Yeah.
right? And so, no, I do not put up everything. I won't wait till after Thanksgiving, but it'll be way closer to Thanksgiving. There was one year I didn't even put it up till the week of Christmas. I mean, I was just,
I was like that last year.
it's just, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it is. Does that make sense? It is. I'm not minimizing what it means in the
Yeah.
holiday and all of that, but I don't. So we're gonna talk about it today.
Hmm.
Because people are gonna start getting stressed out. Just like you said, oh my God, I'm getting anxiety because I haven't even started anything. That's a very real thing for
Yeah.
people, especially because
Hmm.
today is November 1.
Yeah,
November 1.
and it officially like starts like the countdown, like especially if people get paid on Fridays, like, oh no, I only have like
Layways, girl,
yeah, I
and
have six paychecks until Christmas. Yeah.
it's exhausting. Okay, so we've got 5 steps we're going to go over, you and I together. I'll do one, you do one, all that, but it's balance. Number 1, planning for balance. Realistic expectations. It brings so many obligations, and I know this for a fact because it's the shopping, it's the cooking, it's the traveling, it's the socializing. It's and it's okay. So 3 years ago, when I got into the business development field, this is a true story. By the time I was going to so many events for the holidays, right? All the end of the year parties and all that.
Mm-hmm.
By the time Christmas got to us, I didn't care about Christmas morning. I didn't
Yeah.
care. And so the next year, which was last year, I taught myself you've got to balance. You cannot, it's okay to say no, prioritizing and saying no, and not making every event and not making every. I don't know if you have girlfriends that do cookie parties where they all go make cookies and I love all of that. I love hanging out with my friends and all that, but you've got to prioritize. You've got to say no. You've got to find that balance when it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and just along the line, it's just self-care is like non-negotiable, especially when you're trying to plan what you're gonna cook, who's coming away, especially if you have divorce, you're either a product of divorce or you are divorced yourself. Balancing that, shopping, like, it's just take time for yourself, even if it's just a daily walk to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Um, because that can help reduce a lot of the stress that you may be feeling with the holidays.
Girl, I'm so proud of myself. I have been walking every day 2 miles back to it consistently, again, consistently, not a day here and a day there, but
Hmm.
consistently. And I can tell you it is helping with my stress level and my mindfulness. I'm getting back to that mindset again. I always tried to keep it positive, but you can tell when you walk and you work out, you can tell the difference. Um,
Hmm.
the other thing is financial. Girl, robbing Peter to pay Paul is not going to solve the problems of Christmas. Financial stress is common this time of year for everybody. Now, let's just make it real. Let's just keep it real. Everybody's complaining about food prices. Everybody's complaining about
Everything has
the
just gone up in price.
everything's gone up. So having that financial stress is people's already going to be stressed out.
Hmm.
But just talking about budgeting and sitting down and being realistic, you know, I have 5 grandkids and I would love to buy them each and everything that they want, but that's not reality.
Yeah.
And so after the second one was born, Kimber was the oldest by 3 years. And so she got pretty much free reign. But once the other ones started coming along, I do a thing and it helped financially as well that something you want, something you need, something to wear, something to read. So each grandchild was able to or their parents was able to make a list of things in those 4 categories
Yeah.
and I was able to keep it at $100 for each of them because it's one thing to spend $500 on one grandkid, but when you got 5 grandkids, you got to make it work to
Ooh,
go to a
yeah.
hundred dollars for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the financial stress of it because and this year I really want to encourage people um to shop local to help those that are also going to be struggling. I mean, because if they're self-employed and they got small businesses, they have financial plans too, you know.
Yeah.
So just being
Yeah.
mindful and not having to keep up with everybody. I mean, that's the whole thing is I told you, you and I already you love to rap. I'm a
Hmm.
bad girl. I will put I'm not buying all the fancy paper and the ribbon and the tape and all of those things. You get a bag, you get some you get a tissue paper and the gift in there.
Yep. Pretty much. Well, speaking of like having your grandkids, everything, honestly, the season's also about connecting with your family. It's not about comparing, oh, these people did that, so I have to top them because that's what social media is showing you. Um,
It's
Truthfully,
exhausting to do that
it
too,
is.
honestly.
It
It
is.
and it takes away. It you should be focused on your own. And I think, like you said, we scroll Facebook, we scroll highlight reels of others' lives, and it becomes one of those things that it's
Hmm.
like, oh, well, I wasn't able to buy little Sally Joe, the big car that my friend was able to buy her granddaughter.
Yeah,
Okay, you know what? We're not doing all of that. We're that's it.
exactly.
And it's a good practice to get into that. That's why I love doing it for my grandkids now. Something, the four rule, because they all know they're going to get a book. They all know whatever they want, they can make a list and I'll choose from them something to wear. If they want shoes, if they want jeans, if they want this, but they all know they're going to get kind of the same thing, so they don't have to feel like they're being compared or one's being favored over the other. It just
Yeah.
makes it simpler,
Yes.
and then me goes back to, and gratitude, just being thankful, and it boosts your mood. If you're getting to spend time with family, I don't know how close you are to all of your family, but you may not get to see cousins, aunts, and uncles all the time, but being able to spend time with them without stressing yourself out, that's a blessing, right? So just
Yeah.
being able to be grateful for
Well,
those moments.
I come from big families from both sides, and my parents are divorced. So it's a marathon to do, honestly, the holidays. Even whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, it is in the morning with one parent and that side, and in the afternoon with the other parent and that side. So it's a lot, especially with like my dad's side. Plus I'm one of, six kids. And so that in
You're
itself
the
is
eldest,
just,
right? You're the
yeah.
eldest.
I'm the
Yeah.
second eldest, but we don't talk about my brother, so yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Um,
So, but
I'm
that
I'm the
is
oldest that lives here.
right, right. But that's one of those things that it, at, granted, you're an adult, you're a grown woman, but as a child, it had to be overwhelming to have to go through both of those. Okay, I'm doing this, and my own
Hmm.
children. I mean, they come from divorce, and so they know, but it has to be a lot. So that's why for me, Christmas. I never want my kids to feel pressured. Yes, I want to spend holidays with them. Yes, I want to
Yeah.
spend, but I don't ever try to pressure them to spend it with me, because
Yeah.
if they have their own families, they have their own. I want them to create those traditions, and guess what? Momo will figure it out. We will figure it out together, how we will get the whole family, cousins,
Yeah,
all of
all of
that,
them together.
because there's no reason to add that undue stress. I see some of my friends get so stressed out and worked over during the holidays, and
Hmm.
you can just see it in their eyes, like, I'm barely making it. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I'll be home taking a nap. I'm good. Like, we don't have to argue about it. We don't have to fight
Yeah.
about nothing.
Thankfully, both my parents are very like understanding if I but that's just me as a person. It's like I want to be like, for me, I want to be like to show my little siblings like, hey, like my parents may not still be together, but I'm still gonna show up for y'all.
Right,
So
right,
it's
right, right.
more of a me thing, but my parents thankfully like don't pressure me. Like if I don't want to go to a family event, like no big deal. Like I don't have to
Right.
go.
Well, and yeah, being the eldest, I'm sure you try to set the example for your
Yeah.
siblings. Like, we need to
Hmm.
be together for the holidays. And especially because you grew up an only child for the most part. I
Yeah,
mean,
until I was 14, 15.
that had to be yeah, that in itself is a big adjustment.
So
Uh,
yeah, I do that.
hot topic. I know that we have girl, elections. That's the only thing. And we're not even going to talk about it. We just know that today is Friday, elections are Tuesday. Today's the last day of early voting. Uh,
Hmm.
the whole gamut of this election, from the local to the state to the, has been a hot topic, and I don't see it. Yes, they're gonna vote on November 5th, but I don't see it ending before December 31st. That's just my personal opinion. I think on
Hmm.
both sides it's gonna be a knockdown drag out till the end. Locally here, I think we're gonna have runoff races, and those are hot topics right now, because people are, I just despise, and I've talked about it on the previous ones. I despise the amount of mudslinging. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to go eat dinner with those people in a an event later on down the road at the holidays, right? There's going to be an
Hmm.
event everybody's attending, and I'm like, it just.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't have to be like that. And I understand both sides. I do. I understand why somebody, I don't understand why somebody feels like they have to air the dirty laundry. That's my personal opinion. But if the dirty laundry's aired, I feel like the other person, I understand why they go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's, girl, it's a hot mess. It's
it
so yeah,
is.
it's a hot topic, and hopefully in the next few weeks it'll die down because,
It'll simmer down.
bro, hopefully before Thanksgiving, so that, because one thing you don't talk about at the Thanksgiving
Is
table is
politics.
politics. I have had family get disowned. Well, hell, I've been disowned by some family over politics. But it's just funny because it's like, guys, let's just go back to normal somehow. Can we all just get along?
Yeah, I tend to just not be in the room if politics are brought up.
Yeah, yeah. Because, and it's funny because I grew up around uncles that would nitpick. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I can tell when I'm in a room and that nitpicking starting,
Yep.
and I know that it's going to go south. It doesn't matter that it's a joke right this second. We are not
Yep.
in a place. It's going to go south. So I'm always like, why don't we talk about this or that or this? Not that. Let's not talk about
Exactly.
that right now. So,
Exactly.
okay. So
Uh,
this weekend is Art Walk.
it
Uh,
is.
and everybody can go and check CC events like they heard on the thing. But what happened? I know we have to get going because it is
Hmm.
Friday. Everybody's exhausted. It's been another
Hmm.
week. What happened
What
today?
happened today in sports?
Yes.
Great, great question. Um, so, hmm, and in 1924, the Boston Bruins officially joined the National Hockey League, becoming the first United States-based team to enter the league.
Wow. Wow. 1924. So that was 100 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, because they're celebrating their 100th anniversary.
There you go. Happy 100th. Happy
Yep.
100th.
But yeah,
Wow.
so that is all for today's episode. As always, if you like listening to us first thing Monday and Friday mornings, make sure you like us and subscribe to us on YouTube and then like and follow us on Spotify. Um, but other than that, I'm Michaela.
Melina.
And remember, sports are for girls too.
Whoop, whoop. Are you looking to grow your business and increase your brand visibility? Become a sponsor with the Girl Talk Sports Talk podcast. Our sponsorship opportunities offer you a unique chance to connect with our dedicated fan base and community. Let us help you elevate your business name and reach new heights. Contact Melina or Mikayla today to learn more about how you can get involved and make a lasting impact. Join us and watch your business thrive.